Okay, so today we will be watching about Steel Ball Run's animation. Now, the other day I tuned into that live stream event where they were announcing stuff about the Steel Ball Run animation and stuff. They announced the voice actors, the Japanese voice actors, and they also what's this? They also showed us like a trailer. Yeah, I I think if you're watching this, you've probably seen the trailer somewhere. If you haven't, what have you been doing with your life? I mean, it's still boring. We're all waiting for it. But yeah, mm, I saw it, and apparently there are some people who are complaining about the animation, like the character design and everything. But I have my own opinions on it. But first, let's see what this video is about. Then I can speak.
Alright, so now that the dust has settled, and we've all had a bit more time to chew on the Steel Ball Run teaser trailer, I wanted to make this follow-up video to provide a more refined and insightful commentary on my thoughts, as my first video really was a very first impression that I recorded right after the event and was feeling a little disappointed, mostly due to expectations that resulted in a more negative impression than what I think about it now, as it was a bit unfair to just point things out like Diego looks 3D here and there isn't a lot of motion, but didn't really take the time to explain why that might be the case. So by digging into it deeper, I hope to find more of a middle ground between the full-on haters and the glazers you've probably been seeing since it dropped. And for this discussion, I've brought on Jax, a seasoned animator who, outside of his professional work, has been doing JoJo fan animation specifically for Steel Ball Run for years now that you've probably seen before, and has a much better understanding than myself on how animation works, and can provide a more technical explanation to some of your feelings if you think it just looks off. So I'll let Jax take it away and give you guys that context.
Okay, let's see. In the trailer, okay, what I didn't like is the fact that the horses were animated with CGI. Okay, I didn't like that, honestly. I don't know, I just didn't like it. It's like the final season of Attack on Titan. You know how it was. There was like a shift in studios before season 4. Attack on Titan was done by Studio Wit, and then for season 4 it was given to Mappa and stuff like that. Yeah, then Mappa just had to ruin everything with CGI. But like, I don't hate the season, but like, I don't know. I don't really like the overuse of CGI. I mean, it's cool. It's cool if you use it moderately, but not like every time. Nah, I just don't like how anime looks if CGI is used too much. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, after seeing the trailer, I think the team did an amazing job simplifying Araki's art into these more expressive, animation friendly designs.
Yes, that's true. Cause like, I'm still reading the manga. I'm almost done with part 7, and I have to say the manga's character designs aren't animation friendly at all. Cause like, Johnny's outfit has a bunch of stars like almost everywhere. Now, think about a person who will have to animate that. That person will have to animate the stars as well. I mean, I know if I was an animator, I would be screaming every single time I have to look at the fucking frame I have to work on, and I realize I have to draw those stars as well, bro. I I would cry, seriously.
Johnny and Slow Dancer look great, and even attempting horses at this scale is ambitious. And as we've seen from the community, the 3D rigs are convincing enough to pass for 2D, which is a huge achievement. But those same horses and backgrounds also expose the production's weak spots, as when this 3D isn't seamlessly composited, it breaks immersion. And I mean, JoJo has always delivered these strong key visuals, but maintaining that polish across what could be the longest season yet is going to be a real challenge. And as an animator, I want to try and shed some light on the discourse around this trailer. Unfortunately, I think we're going to get more 3D. At least these racing segments will be. But the best thing to look at is probably Part 2's chariot race. As well, the horses are primarily in 3D. They're drawn and even animated sometimes in 2D. So it's more feasible in the quiet sections, like in the Ringo Road Again forest, that we could see full scenes with just 2D horses. But I saw what appears to be completely 2D sections criticized as well. Some of the frames people are criticizing online do have an explanation behind them, but it's kind of hard to explain if you don't know what goes into a drawing. So I'll try and simplify this and just show the silhouettes. If you look at the ones from the trailer, some of them look good, but it's these other ones, feels like there's no intention behind them. A shot like this is likely storyboarded, with this being the main frame that's drawn for the storyboard. But then you get other animators, who are usually less experienced, to expand on that drawing, and adding their own frames in between it. And because it's not one of those moments you'll likely focus on, as it's one of those blink or you miss it parts in the trailer. But then it's the fact that they're using this moment that we have to ask if David Productions is truly putting their best foot forward. Or is it just a super honest trailer showing the best and worst sides of the production? I mean, we have a lot of the previous parts storyboards, so we can clearly see that they have this good groundwork with these nicely drawn, but also competently constructed compositions, as that groundwork from the pros is so important, as after that it's sent down to less experienced staff to do roughs and cleanups on those storyboards, which those pros usually end up correcting anyway if there's anything wrong with that cut of animation. But, and again, this is speculation, they might not have the time, this being due to a variety of factors. So to try and shine a bit of light on why you find some of these scenes unappealing is because of this, and this moves out to the wider production as a whole. With that said, there is some stuff that can ease this after a frame of animation is drawn. Take compositing for instance. This is done after a frame has been through storyboard, roughs, cleanup, color, and can be anything from motion blur to lighting to animated effects. And the thing I've been seeing people picking up on is the lighting and coloring of the characters and just how bright everything is. But if you look at these same characters under different lighting, they look quite good. Take when we see the palette changes, or that stylized gyro shot. But these colors seen in the trailer look almost one-to-one to the character sheets, suggesting that nothing on the lighting side changes, giving these characters this flat look, or even emphasizing 3D when it's used in a shot. So just to give a quick example of some of these compositing effects, here's a mock-up I did adding atmospheric lighting, dust effects, and actual hand-drawn 2D stuff in the frame to help out some of these long shots that do use 3D, as to draw attention away from the CG. And going back to the earlier parts comparison, while it's way less animated, the drawings look more intentional in the way of them being better composed. And these shots from part 1 are working with a similar lighting, but the angle of the shots show a more thought out groundwork to them, if that makes sense. I'll give you one more example here, as Johnny trying to grab the steel ball might look better, and I kind of expected them to do it similar to how they did this Jonathan shot. It's not the easiest thing to get your head around, but I hope this gives some insight from an animation perspective and addresses some of the community's complaints, because Steel Ball Run's been a massive inspiration for me. And again, this is just a trailer, so we don't have David Productions' full vision just yet, but I'm super hyped to see how the rest of the adaptation goes. Alright, now back to you, Exports.
Well, thank you, Jax. And guys, be sure to check out his channel, as he's been venturing out into more JoJo commentary alongside the fan animations, and it's good stuff. So from Jack's perspective, you can get the impression that what was shown in the teaser was relatively underbaked, or could have been improved with redraws, a bit more direction, lighting, just more time. And thinking about this more is what gave me a better impression, as we really need to judge this scene with the whole adaptation in mind. Since it's going to be another Netflix exclusive, the production itself is likely approached in batches. And this isn't to say a batch release is confirmed, but Netflix likes to have multi-language dubbing available from day one, like we saw with Stone Ocean. So from the production side, they will need to have a bunch of episodes done and ready to send out for all of the VAs to record everything in a timely manner and be ready at the same time. So say the first production batch was 13 episodes. There is so much work ahead of them in just those 13 alone. Granted, they don't cut too much, there will be entire episodes where the characters don't stop moving throughout changing environments. Now imagine that compared to a typical episode of JoJo, with a lot of walking and talking, standing around, maybe a few minutes of action. But the first stage of the race is insane, and immediately following that we have multiple stand fights, some on horses with complex environments. And this first batch or core will probably end around Tusk, maybe even Rocky Mountain Village if the pacing is extremely fast. If you are managing a production with limited time and budget and have to allocate different resources to these different scenes, the start of the race is really the lowest priority to spend extra time on and polishing when all of the real work is everything that happens right after this moment. So unfortunately, I think a lot of those small and fun details you find in the manga, like the mini horse race, the trophy, and ice, will probably be cut. But we saw almost this exact same situation with Stone Ocean, where there were some weirdly drawn scenes and slow animation in the first episode that was mostly exposition, but improved dramatically once we got into the actual action of the part. So I know it sounds like copium to say, no guys, they only showed us the worst part, but it does make some sense. As this was called a teaser. Although I have been seeing people claim a teaser means this is beta footage or it's all unfinished, which is kind of a self-report, like you do think it looks rough, you just don't want to say it. But I don't think that's the case at all. It would be pretty moronic to hype up an event for months with your grand reveal being unfinished work. So I do think all of this will be in episode 1. And most of it does look good, but based on the nature of the teaser, they didn't have the best scenes to pull from or the most hype moments. The idea was clearly, let's just set up the race and not show anything beyond the start of it. Hence teaser trailer, it's just a setup. So the issue is just that this is what is going to set our expectations until the next trailer. I've also been seeing a lot of comparisons to Part 5 with people saying the series peaked there and will never reach that level of animation again, and I do agree that Part 5 is exceptional, especially through its character designs. But let's not act like we can't pick out a scene that looks much worse than what we see in this trailer. Every part of JoJo is filled with its highs and lows, but they all sort of even out in the end. And now I want to get into the idea of expectations, because I feel like if people are unable to acknowledge reality, they're setting themselves up for failure. So there should be an expectation that in the process of adapting Steel Ball Run to a new medium, a lot will change in that process. We've already seen this through the character designs, which are far more simplified than previous parts.
Because like, I think I already talked about this. Like, I mean, look at this. This is not animation friendly. It's not. It's not. Hence the simplification of the character design. So others have said, but honestly, I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't want the animators to have to grind way too much like fucking Mappa animators or something now.
Not every detail will make its way onto the big screen. And if that's all you care about, a one-to-one recreation of the art and pacing and posting side-by-sides online like a checklist, this is likely to come off as a gimped version of Steel Ball Run, instead of looking at it as something new and different that carries all of those core elements but plays to the strength of its medium, which should allow it to accentuate the fluidity and motion of the race. But in order to achieve that, we gotta talk about the 3D animation. So the use of CGI has been the biggest point of contention for years leading up to this adaptation, where the conversation always seemed to boil down to 2D good, 3D bad. Mostly because in the past it stuck out more like a sore thumb and considerably worse than the hand-drawn characters. But it appears that the reality of adapting Steel Ball Run without these compromises just isn't feasible. So the
Yeah, cause like, it would be, I mean, it would be tedious, especially with the amount of movement that's happening in Part 7 in Steel Ball Run. Because like most of the time they're on horses and they're moving. Now having to animate every single horse with your hand, like you have to redraw, and I get it. It becomes tedious. So yeah, I think I understand why they have to use some CGI here, because like it's hard. Trust me, I've tried getting into animation before. It's hard.
use of 3D and the simpler character designs isn't what is making the adaptation bad, it's what's making it even possible. And it's not as simple as throwing more money at the project to make it look better, as Steel Ball Run is the longest, fastest in terms of motion, and has the most realistic art style of any part animated yet. Its depictions of horse racing and the character designs alone make it a challenge, let alone consider its inevitable 50-plus episode count. So based on the teaser, they appear to be letting us know well in advance that they are developing a new art style for this part that will utilize 3D in the horses and characters when riding. And the thing is, it looks good, as it's designed to be as least intrusive as possible. Like Jax mentioned, there will probably be a lot more 3D in this part, just simply due to the nature of it. So during these extended sequences of racing, I imagine the style would look something closer to Dorohedoro, which shouldn't immediately be seen as bad just because 3D. I think that show looks a lot better than most episodes of JoJo, and the use of 3D was absolutely necessary to adapt Q Hayashida's complex art style to animation. There is a reason why these series like Berserk are considered unadaptable. The art can be so intricate you get to a point where it becomes near impossible to depict these scenes through animation. So in order to make such things possible, you have to approach it differently and find these solutions like 3D jockeys and new character designs that are simpler and different, but shouldn't instantly be deemed chopped or unwatchable due to its differences to the manga. It's not like these character designers don't know what Johnny looks like. They've made a creative decision, and we just gotta
Interesting.
trust the process. Maybe the point is for him to look angry and childish at the start of the race, like his personality, but will mature and grow, even visually, throughout the story. Which is cool character development from Steel Ball Run we'd see less of if everyone looked like their final design from the start. And that's why we need Fat Valentine in the anime. But of course a lot of this is speculation, as we really won't know what the part's full look is until we see the final product for ourselves, which is rumored to release on March 19th through some Netflix metadata on the title, which I think would be perfect. Another 6 months seems fair after waiting this long. So following my first impressions, I just want to bounce back at you guys with my more thought out and realistic expectations for Steel Ball Run. I 100% do think this is going to be a great adaptation and a lot of fun. It might just not look exactly the way people expected it to, which does not mean bad, just more animation friendly, which is ultimately the best path for it. So I just pray that people are actually able to accept that and shift gears and enjoy this adaptation, instead of being haters every step of the way because it's not 100% manga accurate, when no animated part has ever been that. And lastly, I want to address one of the most common responses I've been seeing thrown around these past few days, and is bound to show up here as well, and that's be grateful, where JoJo fans are so ungrateful. And I get what most people are trying to say, like it's a good thing that this is happening, and I totally agree with that. But insinuating that everyone must only be grateful on that merit alone is a manipulative argument, as it's intended to shame people for speaking their mind, and a not-so-subtle attempt to gaslight you into feeling bad or guilty about your genuine feelings on something. And these comments don't actually want you to practice gratuity, they want to silence your voice, silence criticism, and create an environment of toxic positivity based in this faulty logic, where my series can do no wrong and I must defend it, which can be a slippery slope. Hypothetically, if David Pro just started giving us shit from a butt to make as much money as possible, should we still be grateful? Where's the line that gratuity is to be doubted? When is criticism allowed, and who's the authoritarian to determine that? Nothing about this teaser should shield it from criticism, even if it looked perfect. So if you are grateful, those are your terms and completely valid, but forcing everyone else to abide by your terms is weird and repressive. No one should feel bad or forced to share someone else's opinion, let alone feel guilty about not liking a product made by a for-profit company. If you think it's peak, happy for you. If you think it's doo-doo water, I'm open for that discussion as well. And you're definitely not a quote-unquote fake fan if you have some negative opinions on the series. If anything, you're more of a fake fan if you just agree and praise every aspect of it blindly, refusing to take part in difficult discussions about the work. Besides just, my series is perfect, and I'm a better fan for thinking so. Everyone who disagrees with me, there's no room for you. So that's just my 2 cents on it and all of the craziness I've been seeing this past week on Japanese cartoons. So thank you all so much for watching the video. Drop a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you all real soon in a new video, as a lot of Steel Ball Run news just keeps getting churned out seemingly every day now, so stay tuned.
Oh, okay. I think that was a good video. Yeah, so yes, y'all have heard what's up with Steel Ball Run's animation. So yeah, okay. Personally, for me, the first time I saw the character designs, okay, I didn't like them, because like there's this thing with me and manga where like I usually want the anime to look exactly like the manga, because like there's this feeling I get when I'm comparing a certain scene from an anime and from its original source, the manga. I don't know if it's just me, I don't know, but like yeah, I didn't like the character designs at first, but then once I realized that, you know, it's the character designs are more animation friendly, they would be much easier to animate. Yeah, I was like, okay, it's fine. I wasn't a hater for a long time. So yeah. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on Steel Boran's animation. I think it's okay. It's not too good. Like, I'm always comparing every part to part 5. I mean, part 5's animation was so good, guys. I won't lie. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not bad. It's good. But like, it's not the best I've seen. So yeah, those are my thoughts. So anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my main channel, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Peace.